So the S&P is trying to move up again. Problem that we have with the old S&P right now, what you're seeing on here is kind of just basically a fib retracement. And with that, they keep kind of running up to this 50% area and kind of pulling back. And right now, looks like they're trying to do it again. And so everybody always likes to see the up days, of course, but all of a sudden they turn back around and we have another down day, right? And so they all get depressed and this, that, and the other. So um, I'm kind of still suspect about this rally even today. We hadn't been able to get above that 50% mark, which is really only halfway between the high and this low here, which is there it is. But another big thing is we opened up the year at 56.44, which is basically just shy of this 618 line. So really, until we get above that we're still down on the month. I mean, if you bought something at the beginning of the month, you're still down on the month. There it is. So not everything's that way. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But just know in the general S&P market, that's just kind of the where it is right now. So I've got a little suspect in here until we can at least close above that 50% level. If they can do that, all righty, maybe they go challenge the month open. And if they can get above that, all right, maybe we do start going back up. Um, but until then, um, no, we are going to have ups and downs and ups and downs. You can kind of see that we've really been trading between this 50% and this 23.6% range, just kind of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So we'll see if they can try to bust it this time. I don't know if they'll be able to, but we'll kind of see what it does. And, um, and a lot of people also, oh, there we go. Um, Gold went up and slammed into this 3509 area and then just kind of gave it up. They kind of sold off basically 100 or 250 points, thereabouts. Not quite 250, but almost. Now they're trying to bounce back up again. And so right now they're basically trading at the week open on gold. And, they have a tendency, if you just kind of look at, they make highs, they pull back, they made highs, they're pulling back. And that's just kind of the waves of how gold goes. And the pullbacks are pretty healthy. And so now that they've kind of got all of that out of the way, my guess is they're probably gonna get some energy and start pushing up again. One thing I thought was kind of interesting, not necessarily that it really affects the gold market, but over in I think they started a brand new one like in Shanghai, China, I think it was. Um, they actually have like an ATM machine that you can take your gold stuff, jewelry, rings, whatever it is, coins, whatever, and you can throw it into this machine and it will tell you how much, gold is in it, melt it down, and then within 30 minutes deposit the money into your account. So I thought, well, I guess that's one way of getting rid of your gold in your house. Um, which I mean, I don't see where that's so bad or anything like that. So, but anyway, but I think gold is still going to be heading a lot higher. And but these pullbacks are just kind of normal and along the way and kind of allow you to kind of get in at some lower prices if you're trying to accumulate GLD or any of those other guys out there, Newmont or whatever. This kind of gives you a way of doing that. So I think gold is still poised to kind of continue to move higher, even though the S&P is struggling to get above that halfway point of that big move down that we saw. I don't know. We'll see if it can get above that and start moving from there. Now, from that, this morning, good old FCX came out this morning with their earnings, and they were good. So, which is cool. Actually, PepsiCo came out, and actually they lost on their earnings, or they were worse than expected, or whatever it was. So, which is unusual for PepsiCo. But anyway, um, FCX is moving back up. We've had about a $10 rally. Of course, no, copper got whacked. And of course, this moves a lot with copper, but it is its own company. It does have earnings and CEOs and all that stuff, right? So, and I think if we can get back above like the 38.55 area, and we can see copper getting back above $5. I think we'll have a nice little move back up in FCX and see if we can at least get up to the 44 $45 area, and maybe even as high as 47 and a half, depending on what copper does. And so I'm kind of watching the two of them right now. If you want to kind of probe it long right now, it's probably not a bad idea. But if you want to kind of wait a little bit, I'd wait to see if copper can get above that $5 area. It's been playing with 490. If you don't know what that is, uh, do, 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 do. And this contract's going to roll um, next week, but you can kind of see here they're playing with this 490 area. You can kind of see they really dumped this thing off down to $4 after being up here at 537. So they've had this nice little rally here. Now the question is, can it get back above $5 in here, which they were holding support on pretty well until they busted it. And then all of a sudden, there it is. And this big sell-off that you see in here is just because of, the kind of tariff news, if you will. Trump administration basically came out and they basically originally said they're going to give 250 days before they do anything on the copper complex, um, and which basically put it out to September. And then they said, nah, we'll just do it May 1st. And when they did that, all the ships that were moving here to pull all the copper in here, well, they can't make it in here in time. And all of a sudden, copper just kind of dumped off a little bit. And so, and now we're kind of starting to bounce back up and recover from that. And so we'll kind of see if we can get above that $5 area. And if we can do that, then we'll probably start trying to push back up on copper, which also will probably help silver out a little bit. Maybe get back up to $35. And of course, gold's just trying to go up anyway, and just has little pullbacks along the way and all that stuff. So, um, as far as, one other thing that I'd like to kind of mention in here, the crude oil industry right now is getting you think there's a lot of tariff news out there, and there's a lot of oil news out there as well. You got OPEC that's trying to increase production. Argentina doesn't like that. You've got Trump right now trying to make a new nuclear deal with Iran. And a lot of people just say, okay, that's nuclear, whatever. Well, you don't understand. They'll want to start exporting more oil because they have all these sanctions on them. So that's going to put more oil out into the market also. Um, Russia came out and their Russian oil company um, lost like 22% this past quarter just because, well, they have sanctions on them. And so you've got that going on. Then you had the EIA petroleum status report come out yesterday that we had a huge draw on gasoline, which this time of year it's normal, but that puts more demand on crude also. And then you've got an executive order that they're thinking about signing at the administration to cut down the um, I guess it's the approval process. Maybe that's the best way of putting it. The approval process for new leases and stuff like that, whether it be out in the Gulf or out in, some piece of land the government owns or whatever it may be, down to just 28 days. Where before, sometimes it'll take, a year to get that process taken care of. They're going to cut it down to 28 days. So they're trying to speed that up. And one thing I thought was kind of interesting, they were going to do that for the whole energy sector except wind. Wind, you don't get that. So you can kind of see that what they're trying to thump. Anyway, so you've got all that news out there in the energy sector, and crude oil is trying to figure out what the heck it's got to do right now. You got a lot of no supply coming out onto the market, and yet we have a lot of demand here because, well, we don't have enough gasoline, and so it's in kind of a catch 22 right now, trying to figure out, well, I should be weak, but right now I got to be strong, and there it is. It's just kind of a wishy-washy kind of market. and kind of what the S&P's in, right? S&P just kind of runs up some days and just gets dumped off another day and so on and so forth. And we're going to probably see that for the next month or two anyway, um, until they can start getting some trade deals done, if that gets done, and get some things kind of chilled out there. So, like I said, there's a lot of different things going on. Another thing that we have happening, there we go, some more, right? This didn't necessarily on the tariff side of things, uh, but just from, you know, I'll say administrative, screw ups more than anything. Our cattle herds are at 75-year lows right now. Most people don't know that. They're the lowest they've been since like 1951. And it's not just that, they've been, you know, we lost some cows or anything like that. I mean, they've literally been gutted, and there's a lot of open range lands they don't let the cattle on, so they can't feed the cattle and everything like that. Quote unquote inputs, if you want to look at it that way. Inputs is usually referred to fertilizer and stuff like that going into the ground for crops and stuff. But you also have that for cattle. You got to have grasslands and everything like that. You've got to be able to feed them corn and whatever else, but they have to make sure they have good hay grazer and everything. And those inputs are very, very expensive right now still. So that's a big thing, in the cattle market. And it's in getting a cattle herd, replenished isn't just a real quick deal. I mean, you can't, I mean, you can grow some chickens in 6 months, but it takes you 3 years just to start getting your herd back. I mean, the gestation period on a cow is basically the same as no humans. It's about 9, 10 months. And so, I mean, you can't just pop out just a whole bunch of cows and increase your herd real quickly. So just beware of that. So we're probably going to continue to see beef prices very, very high for an extended period of time, until they can start getting that done. So, uh, well, one thing, now remember, if you're talking about the EIT, we've got a call spread on there. It's, a ways from it, even though, yes, I mean, we have to remember when you're doing credits, if it moves toward that direction, it's going to look like it's doing bad. It's not. You're not even close to the strikes yet, so don't worry about them right now. I mean, we still have one day to go, and just be patient. It'll be fine, more than likely. So, but I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people, when they get into something that's short, if it moves a little bit against them, quote unquote, they look at it and they say that, well, I'm losing money. Well, you haven't really lost money yet. It's just like being a short a put, just a naked put. Just, I mean, I'm selling a naked put on Nvidia at $85 there. Well, if it moves from 95 down to 87, it's going to look like you're going to get your face peeled on the thing, but it still hasn't made it to $85. And it never gets below $85 by expiration, it just goes away. And it's the same thing. I mean, the more than likely it'll be fine and dandy. I'm not too worried about it. So we'll be fine right now. So don't worry about that, I don't think. Um, so But anyway, but as far as gold, I think gold is going to continue to move up. Our perfect gold trade has been trying to get filled today, or to signal off today, for us to get an alert, and it just can't seem to do it. I was thinking it would do it today. You might have to wait till tomorrow to get it or something like that, but we'll be patient and watch and find out on it. And of course, Gold Stream right now is batting 1,000. We're 18 for 18 on it, and we'll see what the next one does. But if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, we'll wrap things up and go from there. So, and if you want to know more about the perfect gold trade and stuff like that, I know they're going to be playing a replay after this. So, but oh yeah. Um, if you're wanting to put the F5 indicator on here, then there's a couple of things you're probably going to have to do. But I use little icons. There we go. You'll have to hit this second icon over on the left. All right. And when you do that, and you click that, you can go down, and it's about a third of the way down, F5 indicator. Now, and then you got to draw from where to where. So if we go, this is just on copper. We go from here to here. There it is. Now, it has a simple default of basically 10%. And what you're going to have to do if you want the fibs, then let me clear all my trash out of the way here. Where is it? There it is. Now you'll have to hit the fifth icon over, little pie thing. So once you do that, then you get this little table. Click on your F5 indicator and click properties. And this is what you're probably going to have to edit. And if you want to, just take a picture. It's be kind of small on your screen, but you can take a picture of my little box here. But these are your fib retracements right here. And I kind of filled them all in up to 127%. But you can just pop those in there and then save it as default. And then whatever you do is going to have your fibs on there. So, but anyway, um, Gold Stream Alert will be going out this afternoon once we get done here. Yeah. I always use the fib retracements on like a daily chart or a weekly chart. I never do it on an intraday chart. Those things are, it just doesn't work all that well. But I look for the highest highs and the lowest lows, just basically over the past month, month and a half. I mean, just like this is a huge drop here. And you'll notice we're up here at the 618 on this right now. They're trying to get above that 618 on this that'll move back up in just copper, but you can just find your highest highs and your lowest lows over the past month or so, and that's probably good enough. If you want to pull up a weekly chart, you'll have a longer term time span. So, but that's kind of what I look at. I just look for those highest highs and those lowest lows and draw from there. And you can do it the other direction. You can actually go from this low to this high here and find out where the retracement is back. But right now, I think what they're doing right now is just trying to bounce everything back up. So, and then if you want to get rid of that, I'll just click on this again, click on that and delete it, and it goes away. So anyway, all right. Well, with that, we'll wrap things up. We'll be back on Tuesday next week. Like I said, if you want to look more at the perfect gold trade, they're going to be replaying it once we get done here. And also, I'll be getting out the gold stream probably in the next 20, 30 minutes here. So, alrighty. Have a good and all.